Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Francis, with my amazing co-host, Michele. How are we today, Michele?
I'm good. It feels like it's been so long since I've watched the episode.
Really long time.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, what happened? But I remember now. But yeah, it's been good. I'm hearing you guys have said that there's going to be 2 episodes this week randomly. So, I mean, hey, let's get this season moving. Like, let's get deeper in. I'm ready for this phase to be done, to be honest.
100%.
Yeah.
And Matthew, Callum's girlfriend, is here. How are we today, Matthew?
I honestly can echo every single thing Michele just said. Like, it feels like there's just been so much reality TV on that it feels like I watched this like a month ago. But really, it's only been like 4 or 5 days. But yeah, I'm also kind of excited about the prospect of speeding up the season a little bit and let's get these vets in there. Let's shake things up and see how things unfold. So I'm actually quite excited for a double episode this week and get things going.
Yeah, I think the reason why it seems like it's been forever is because it's only was the first episode or second episode. It was a lot hasn't gone on. And so I think that's why it just feels like we don't know any of the players or the drama or anything that's happening is because nothing's actually happened yet. And, yeah, second person's been eliminated.
Yeah.
I think so. For me too, I didn't remember what happened in the episode. So I was like, thank goodness I took notes because I watched it on the day that it came out. I watched it in my hotel room and because I went to Brea, which was fun. Got to hang out with some RHAP people, watch some Survivor, watch some Big Brother. So yes, I definitely had a lot of other reality TV on my mind and not the challenge. But I'm interested in getting back into it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the house and Melissa's obviously excited that Big T won an elimination. So what's her elimination total?
I believe she is 2 and 4 now.
Okay.
Hey, it's better than some.
Better than some. It's not the worst at all. We also have some friends. Oh,
I mean, her 2 eliminations has to be more than most people on this cast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many other people in this cast have over 2 eliminations.
Besides
Horacio and Olivia, yeah. Outside of them, I don't know. Maybe the chat has a few more. I don't know. Has Michele won 2 eliminations?
I don't know if she's won more than one. Maybe
no, she's
2.
won 2. She won one on USA against Amira.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And then one against Michaela.
Yeah.
On her first season. So, but I think she only has 2.
She might have won one more with Jay.
Oh, yes, she did. They won 1 together and then they lost, I think. Anyways.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But hi, MV. MV hasn't even watched the episode yet, but wanted to join since we're kind of on it a better time for someone that's in the future. So thanks for joining us. Sophie's also here. Dudley is here. Willie, saying hi to you, Matthew, because you're in the chat. You're trolling the chat, Matthew?
Oh, no, I was just posting my thoughts about the 2 episodes and my hopes that this means maybe we get All Stars 4 a little quicker. And
do we want it though? Don't we want? Well, I want All Stars 4 just because I'm more interested in the cast. But don't you need a break?
No, I don't mean right away, but maybe now we won't get All Stars 4 in June. Maybe we get it in the spring or late winter. And then season 40 can come without us waiting 6 months.
Yeah, I think they need to get a better schedule with these new shows coming in because it's I would have liked more than 6 days of a break.
They should just do what Survivor does, 2 seasons a year, 1 in the fall, winter, and 1 in the spring and early summer. It's seems so easy, but what do I know?
Mess it up. Dabu's here, so is Jay here. Fun, lots of people hanging out with us today, talking about this mid-season or episode of the challenge. So Horacio now thinks that he has a big target on his back because he said Big T's name. How do you guys feel about this? Does he think this matters?
There was no reason for him to do that. I just don't think Horacio has had the opportunity necessarily and the time to like understand the importance of strategy, and your vote is strategic. Like that's one of the moments where you get to do that. And if everyone's already doing one thing, like you're just creating an enemy where you don't need to. And you know that Big T has a lot of friends just because she's not strong. Like, I don't know. I thought that was a mistake personally, but probably not a huge mistake for him. He's going to be a target regardless, but I don't know.
Yeah, like I do think that Horacio is able to kind of hold up his end of the bargain physically. So like I wouldn't be scared if I was him, but I just wish that he was better at playing a bit of a social game. Like, okay, yes, you might want to target Big T or say that she's the weakest link, but why isn't he thinking about all the people that she comes along with that might be willing to say your name now? And so it just, I mean, he wasn't necessarily the strategic mastermind on his first season. He was pretty much just physical. So what can we expect? But I was hoping that he would have a little bit more strategic chops.
I think the fun thing about this season is going to be like most of the people just have no idea what they're doing, which is just going to make for like very bad gameplay. And just like head scratching moves like this. Like Horacio had zero reason to do this, but he did it anyways. And it's like nothing good can happen. But like if Big T were to ever get power, like why is she going to care to protect you? And I feel like
or any of her allies get power.
Yeah, like we're going to continue to see people just make like boneheaded decisions because most of them have never been in power on the challenge before. Or like most of them have like listened to the vets and like have kind of played that game. But eventually like these people are going to be forced to be in power and they're not going to know what to do with it, which I think is going to be very like compelling TV wise.
Hopefully, because the numbers aren't doing too hot right now. And so like hopefully some compelling episodes will get some more eyeballs on the screen. What do you guys think the reason why the numbers are so down? Like even from episode 1 to episode 2?
Well, I think a combination of like no vets, obviously. And then I think also, I personally think it's just, we're a little bit oversaturated with right now with this style of like reality shows. Like there's still Big Brother happening, Survivor's happening, which has been exciting in my opinion. There's House of Villains, which is so troll.
Iconic.
There's Traitors Canada, which I'm into right now. Like there's a lot that's going on. The Love Island games just started. Like I feel like there's just a lot going on, and comparatively it's not serving at the same level necessarily yet. I don't know. But I think if like they get the vets in, people see clips, hopefully people will come back to it. I don't know.
Well, I agree with everything that you're saying, and all those shows I am watching, and like as you are, I'm doing my best to watch the MTV because like during the time slot where they have so many competing things, I think even The Masked Singer might even be on right now. Like it's just like a lot of things are happening, especially on a Wednesday. I think maybe also Married at First Sight. Like they're competing with a lot of things at the Wednesday 8 p.m. time slot. And I feel also, though, with CBS pushing some of their programming, like Big Brother, into the fall season, I think that that's also what's kind of hurting them. And then, like you said, Love Island Games, it's another show that's like, it's getting probably more viewers than MTV is, because more people might have access to Paramount Plus than they do to MTV. And so, I don't know. I wonder if they have a strategy to like get the viewership back up, because the other shows are getting the views.
I think the one thing that might help a little bit is going to be like once the winners with like a larger audience come on, like they're going to promote the show maybe a little bit more. Like I would imagine like the episode CT shows up, like if he posts on his Instagram the week before, like, hey, like look who's coming back next week. Like he probably has like a nice chunk of people that will watch just because he's there. But I don't know if that's going to be that significant of like people that are not watching. I just think like the biggest thing, like I think Kyland posted something about it and said like, yeah, like in general, like viewership is down. Like, yeah, that's true. Like viewership is down, but like it's not that much down compared to last season that like it should be this significant. So part of it is like definitely just like viewership going down all across the board. Part of it is the cast. And then part of it is definitely the fact that like another challenge season literally ended 5 days before. And I don't think MTV does a great job of promoting their new seasons in general. Like you get like an Instagram post with like the preview. They'll post on Twitter, but it's not being marketed like crazy. They did actually have like a billboard in Times Square, which was pretty cool. But I mean, like, how are the people outside of New York finding out that the challenge is on when the season just ended 5 days ago?
Exactly. I don't really know, but I hope that they figure it out because, like, I prefer MTV's version than I do the CBS version. And so I'm hoping that they are able to maintain it, but I'm worried that CBS is just going to just blow through it and it'll be no longer. They'll steal the format and put it on CBS.
That's 100% my fear too, where it's like the CBS version is like already like more of like a family friendly version, which is fine for people that want to watch like the CBS version. Like I'm fine having that there, but if the MTV version just moves to CBS for like 41 or 42 or whatever, I don't want that to be the only challenge we get because it is nice to like still be able to see fights and hookups and like crazy
the mess
people
that we love.
Yeah, like if we move to CBS, like a lot of these people that get cast probably won't even get cast anymore because they're not going to want to risk them like tarnishing the CBS name.
So brutal, and it's because of all like the ad space that's being purchased on CBS, and so oh my god, are we at the beginning of the end, guys? I'm worried. Is season 40 going to be like the last MTV version of the challenge, and the only thing that MTV plays is ridiculousness?
I don't know.
They actually were playing repeats of The Real World over the last few days, so I just recorded all these seasons. They were playing. I recorded all of St. Thomas and
that's
Portland.
Marie's season, right?
Yeah, so Marie's season and then Jordan and Naya's season, which is like a really like chaotic season.
That's a chaotic season. So many painful episodes. I mean, I wouldn't get too ahead of ourselves here because I will never forget a point when over 10 years ago, there was a scare that it was going to get canceled. And the viewership was so low and they pulled through. And I believe there'll always be a way. But I agree with you also that CBS could easily just take over.
Yeah. The only problem and like the difference is now that they're all under like Viacom, it's essentially like the same network anyways. Yeah. But like the CBS version is like doubling in views. Mm-hmm. So the fact that like CBS just saw like, hey, we aired the challenge CBS or USA and it's like crushing views compared to MTV and we're the same parent company. Like, why would we not merge? Mm-hmm. So that's like my fear. Whereas like 10 years ago, there was no alternative. But yeah, I hope it's not the case. Like maybe season 40 will just crush it in ratings. And
I mean, I think one of the issues too, though, the producers and casting, like they don't seem to get it. They've lost like their sauce, in my opinion. And so I'm hoping that like they'll go back to good challenges and good casting and like good format and just like give us a good season, please, please, please. So Brittany wants to know if Big T and Melissa have a podcast. Yes, they do. Matthew, have you listened to any of their podcasts?
It's not really a podcast. It's like kind of more or less like they're on like an Instagram live and then they like put it to Spotify, but it's like very much just like them like shooting the shit. I did listen to the first episode, didn't really like gather much. Like it's fun. It's like but it feels very like Instagram livey as opposed to like the official challenge podcast where they have like guests on and whatnot.
Did you watch any of those this week, Matthew?
No, I did not. I listened to Corey Lay on Challenge Mania. That was all that I listened to.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that. He's super cringe to me. Did we talk already about him and his beef with Big T?
I think we did talk about it a little bit. Honestly, there was nothing really there. Like they asked him about the beef with Big T. He said like the same thing. Like, hey, like she's like, I like her as a person, but like I just don't like fuck with her in the game. And like people clocked her game, whatever. And I was like working with my alliance and she wasn't part of it. That's all he really said.
Okay, he's annoying though. Hopefully he goes soon. Hopefully he goes soon. Okay, so another thing that we learn is that Chauncy and Jay are working together. And then also Jay is working with Asaf, Corey, Ed, Kyland, Horacio, Mariah, Olivia, Nurys, and Michele. And Berna and Colleen and Emmanuel. Like so many people.
He does the same thing, and he had a couple confessionals in this episode that annoyed me so much because you're just like, yeah, like there's just so many alliances. I'm like, yeah, this is what you do every time, and then you get caught in it because the moment you get power, you have to make a decision, and you're so bad at covering your tracks and like making too many promises, and you never make it past 4 episodes. Like, can you make it past the halfway point, please?
He might in this season because
he might, but he's already doing the same thing he always does.
He'll make it decently far, but like he's gonna be so screwed when he comes back for a next season.
Of course,
like, he already was like kind of screwed with the vets, but now that they see like how he has his hands in every cookie jar, he's gonna be so screwed. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he's first boot next season, if he's immediately targeted and like even like making it to, like episode 4 or 5. Like that's gonna be a stretch moving forward, I think, for him.
Yeah, in future seasons. I think this season he has a huge potential of getting far because he won't have to necessarily turn on somebody for a while. Like he still has like quite a few people that he can get out before he's gonna have to upset an ally. So he has a little while, but he hasn't learned yet. So maybe he thinks that he's going to actually win the season. And if he does, then maybe we'll eat our words. But I don't think that.
I could see him winning this season, definitely. But like, if it's not this season, it's never happening.
Yeah, this is the season to win. So is that your mark? Is like you think that Jay is going to win, and who's your female winner?
I don't think he will win. I just think like he definitely can win. Like I would say like I think he will get to a final or very close to a final. Like I would still take like if he's in a final against Horacio, and because there's only one winner, like I mean Horacio I still think is the favorite, even though like he doesn't really provide much in confessionals, but I don't even think that matters for him because he's like kind of boring. But like
really boring.
I think Jay has as good of a shot as anyone outside of Horacio.
So Chauncey thinks something is off with Jay, and this is kind of what you're saying, Michele, is that like already he's getting himself in a position where people are worrying about his loyalty or seeing him talking to too many people. So what do you think about Chauncey thinking about something being off with Jay?
Chauncey, I mean, Chauncey's playing a way worse game than he and Jay is, so that tells you everything you need to know.
It's true.
Like, somehow he's even worse. The mistakes that Chauncey makes in this episode, just one after another.
Oh, I mean, troll walls, like
just the trolliest.
I really liked seeing Hughie and Olivia bonding. Matthew, you must have been just pleased as punch to see two of your faves getting along and bonding here.
Well, I don't really love Olivia, but
I thought you did.
No, I'm not a big Olivia guy, but she's fine. I love Hughie, obviously, though. So yeah, I loved like seeing the emotional content. What got me a little nervous that like we were getting it in episode 2, and like once it became like clear it was going to be a guy's elimination, I was like super nervous that we got this from him. But no, like really like cool upbringing and like backstory there, and I don't think we got much of that on his first season. So
I think we knew that he was like from a gypsy family, but I think that's pretty much it.
But I did love that scene.
I like seeing them bonding, but it did worry me that Hughie's might be highlit in this episode.
Yeah. I was like, this episode, Hughie's in the elimination. That's what I felt at the beginning.
Hundo. Okay, so Michele, this question is for you. Okay, can you guess what I'm going to ask you about?
I don't know. Is it the Michele and Callum stuff? No.
No, close. No, half close. Okay, what if I
Melissa. Melissa. Oh my God, the kiss. The not kiss.
Well,
is that what you're talking about?
Well, almost. So Melissa's getting a massage from Kyland. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't like this duo, this combination. I'm like, Melissa, stay away. But she's into it.
Yeah, I mean, at the time in that moment in the episode, I was like, oh, obviously I found it cringe. But I mean, TBD, there's more to come with that. I don't know.
Yeah, more cringe for sure.
But, you know, Melissa's always going to provide. She's always going to provide.
Absolutely.
They're not a good couple. They're not going to be a couple.
Well-rounded cast member for sure.
Yes.
She's going to pop off. She's going to pop off. She's going to make out. She's going to do well potentially in eliminations or challenges. So yeah, she's a perfect casting, to be honest. And she has an accent.
Yeah.
So Willie doesn't think that Melissa and Kyland is a good couple. What about you, Matthew? Do you think that that's the right way for Kyland and Melissa to go? Your girl, Melissa?
I mean, I don't mind them as like a fling, to be honest. I think it is like it's a very funny dynamic, and like my favorite moment of the episode comes a little bit later, but is with Melissa and Kyland when they're in the bedroom, and Melissa was just so funny, where she's like I don't care about the game, like I just need to like unwind, and like she just wants to hook up. Kyland is just ranting about the game, which is like classic Kyland, just like doesn't shut up. I will say, like, I like Kyland much more on the challenge than I do on Big Brother. Like, agreed. I think like it's a much better like show for him as a fan.
Yeah, I agree. He cares a lot about it, and he is gaming. You know, he's trying. So he's not on my hate list, but he's not obviously not on my like stan list or anything like that.
Em's asking if Melissa.
She's always dating someone else. Melissa, like it was. Remember with Kyle, there's that scene where she's like, his hand is like in her leg or whatever, or like vice versa. There's some like they like show this weird moment where they're like in each other, and then but it's like he had a person at home and she's had a person at home. She's I don't think she cares really, but maybe she didn't have a boyfriend.
I don't think she did this time around, but I definitely remember in the past that she didn't care.
Yeah.
So the daily is going to be for $50,000. I also think the fact that it's low stakes here. I know I've said in the past that like the high stakes make people play a little bit more scared, but I think with these new players, it would give them a little bit more thirst because like they haven't all been to finals and know what it takes to win and been so close. And so they're not going to be as precious, I think. And so I wish that there was more money that they're playing for. Like I know 500,000 is a lot of damn money for one solo winner, but it's also not that big. You know what I mean?
And they're not going to get that. They've already lost almost 100,000.
They're going to make sure that it gets to 500,000. I think.
Maybe
you think that they're really going to allow it to?
I think it's just 4 challenges where they 50,000 each, and once that's done, there's no options for more. Then it's just regular.
I think in the third part, it's also to gain more money.
I don't know.
I wonder if when the champs come in, if like maybe if their like rookie can beat the champ, if they add to the prize pot that way.
I don't remember him saying that. If I can find the rules of the game somewhere, I believe that he said that in like phase 1 is like earn money, phase 2 is protect money, and phase 3 there's an opportunity to earn more money again.
So does that mean if that means like protect money? Does that mean the champs can like steal money from the prize pot? So they
or maybe it just loses it. Yeah, they just lose it.
I think that I'm thinking that the champs are playing for part of the pot.
So you think they could lose even more money?
I think so, but then in the third round they'll get an opportunity to gain more money back.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if the champs were doing it for small like amounts of money. I just don't think that these people like I don't know that CT, like, I don't know, maybe, but I feel like their appearance fees alone for that will be enough for them. Oh, okay. I mean, hey.
Taku here saying TJ will come up with a surprise challenge to gain all the money. Yeah, exactly. Like, they did it in
Traders.
Like, the Traders. Yeah. I just
feel
like,
yeah.
It's like also like the red skull thing or the gold skull, one of the skulls. It's like, oh, it's scarcity, but then like they'll fluff it up at the end, or the last prize will be
like
whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's okay. From what I wrote down here is level 1 is control, earn money. Level 2 is chaos, protect money. Level 3 is it says conquest and can earn more money.
Okay.
So that's what I wrote down. So hopefully that's true. I mean, they could also change whatever they want. We won't know. Joanne says, I think that the champs can take their money. Darrell and CT mentioned taking money from from them during their special. Okay.
I stand corrected.
I mean, that's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And it puts some more stakes on like the champs. Like I wanted some money and keep my name as being a champ, undefeated or whatever, you know, like it's fun.
I'm curious to see like how many of the champs actually lose their elimination, or if like all of them are just going to be catered to like their strengths.
I don't know that they will be. I think they won't be.
You think it's just going to be like very fluky eliminations?
Yeah. Or like purposefully make it hard for make it something that they wouldn't necessarily be good at.
But you want their champs to look bad?
Yeah,
not look bad. They won't look bad regardless. Like,
but do you think like CT would really show up here if like he thought he was gonna lose?
No, but I think that CT doesn't really care that much compared to like. I feel like
you think Devin. I guess he's kind of thirsty.
Devin's gonna want it to be something with mental something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
so you think that they're gonna give him a hall brawl?
Like no. So I think that there's probably they're probably more multifaceted type eliminations that all the vets would be just more experienced at, like something kind of physical and kind of thoughts a little bit. Like
it's going to be like Bananas holding up his arm and throwing the thing.
I was thinking like it would be kind of cool if like the champs came in and did like an elimination that they've done in the past.
So that would be cool though, because then it's like they're literally defending something that they were excellent at. Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's cool.
Like I was thinking like, okay, CT's coming in, like they're gonna give him the backpack. They're gonna give Kara, like Kara will get like a balls in or like something like that. Like if they give Laurel a hall brawl, like that's just like so unfair though for whoever plays her.
Yeah, I don't think any of them will be a hall brawl for that.
No, but could it be something, or maybe they even go with something that they failed at. Maybe that they went home with, and then they see if they could like defend like something that they didn't actually win in their original season. That'd be also too, because I'm picturing the one that Laurel lost against Ninja, where she's climbing up the thing and then she didn't stick to the bumpers and she lost. Like that'd be a good one for her to kind of get redemption potentially, and somebody else could see if they could also beat them at something that they weren't good at.
I would love that.
That'd be amazing. That'd be an amazing season. Imagine the season was all like your past coming back to haunt you.
Yeah, but then there's like, has Casey ever lost an elimination?
Yeah, the one with her brother.
With her brother with the barrel. You don't think production is smart enough to come up with that? Like, it would be so awesome.
It's also like such an easy thing. Like, how do they not think of things like that when they're coming up with a season?
Well, okay. For me, in general, when I am working on something, whether it's in the arts or whether it's like I'm always doing research. Why aren't they doing research? They should be listening to podcasts. They should be listening to game strategy and analysis. They should be watching other shows. Like, I don't understand what these producers are doing.
Yeah, and like, to make it even worse, it's like, all right, we're going to call up Brad. We're going to pay Brad X number of dollars, but like, we're not even going to spend the 10 minutes it takes to look at the 7 eliminations he's done in his career and like, which one can we replicate? It seems just so easy and like straightforward, but I also don't think they'll actually do that. I would hope that they would, but
I think I'd be pumped. I'm more excited by my idea than like what's actually probably going to happen. It's probably going to be like everybody gets a hall brawl.
I feel like none of the winners will agree to come and do a hall brawl. Though.
I get you. I get that too. But, I'm just...
Except Cara Maria would probably be willing to do it just because she's like angry and like wants to take out her frustration.
Oh, Cara would always do it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't see like, no way like CT or Darrell, like 40 plus years old, are like, yeah, I'll come in for one night and do a hall brawl and like blow out my back. There's just no way.
Brad was originally not a mercenary.
Yeah.
Who did he replace?
I think Bananas. It was supposed to be
Oh,
Bananas.
right. So what was the drama there again? Why was Bananas mad? Because Drew, I think, asked him about this on his exit interview.
Oh.
I would assume like because Bananas was like filming so much, like
or maybe it's the money wasn't enough.
yeah, I feel like it's like, well, why am I going to fly out for one day unless I'm making like X number of dollars? And they were probably already paying like CT a shitload, and they're like, all right, like Bananas, you're on every season. You're going to be on the next season. We're not going to pay you like $25K to show up for one night.
I mean,
it also could be like with the Moriah shit, because like we did see in the preview, it looks like she's getting like very cuddly with James. So it would be kind of awkward if like Bananas came and like had to go against James, and
James is a big boy.
Yeah, I could picture Bananas not being super thrilled about that idea.
Oh, Joanna also thinks it's because of Mariah. Okay. So they ended poorly? Interesting.
Well, weren't they dating like when this aired?
Bananas didn't want to be a storyline for Mariah. Okay.
Well, they'd already broken up by then.
But he was in like the video.
Yeah, he was in episode 0 when she was leaving to go film in like a week. So
and he was with her.
Yeah, he was with her.
You didn't remember seeing like
I don't remember.
TJ called everybody, and so like she called Mariah and Bananas was in the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it said like when she picked up the call, or when TJ was making the calls, it was like 1 week before filming. So a week before they were definitely together. And then Mariah went to film, and then she's hooking up with James, it appears.
So it's
which one's Jay? Oh,
Locky.
She was hooking. Wait, we just haven't seen that yet.
It was in the preview. For this season.
Okay, so the daily is called Ball Control. And basically they're gonna have to make 2 human ladders. They're gonna have to transfer a ball up the ladder, and each person was gonna have to put their own name ball into a basket type thing or a chute, and they have 23 minutes to complete this task. What are we thinking about this daily?
I thought it was good, but it was very hard. Like there was no part of me that thought they were going to be able to complete that in 23 minutes. Like a minute per person, it's impossible. Yeah, like I think if you put the best 24 competitors ever, like they wouldn't be able to do that in 23 minutes. So I liked watching it, and I thought it was really funny, but like, damn, like they should have got more time than that. It's like give them an hour. Yeah, like I really think the daily was impossible to do.
It was actually impossible.
Well, they only made what? They only got 3 people across, right?
Right. Yeah, they made $6,000. So yeah, they're making basically $2,000 for each ball that they get in, and then if they got all 20, all whatever amount of balls, they would round it up to 50,000. So it was definitely challenging for them. Cierran took charge again. People are not necessarily excited about him getting that done. His plan wasn't fully fleshed out. And then I wrote down Michele and Berna. Were they arguing? Was that what happened?
I don't remember.
Well, there must have been just like trying to talk about like what they thought they should do.
Almost everything Berna says is an argument. But am I wrong?
I think that she was a little more reasonable this episode. No? Until
she was like, I know I come across the wrong way. I don't know.
The first episode, I mean, definitely like everything she was saying was leading to an argument. But I do think she calmed down a little bit.
Okay, so Michele was kind of the narrator after they discussed. Okay, so she's kind of like letting us know what went down. I think Berna also was maybe she took the lead on that, or she was talking about that, but I didn't write it all down. So the people that seemingly got balls in from what I wrote down was Ed, Zara, Melissa, Michele, Colleen, and on the other ladder, they were just terrible. The other ladder, they weren't able to make the ladder. Eventually, when Chauncy couldn't clip in, which is also really annoying. Like, what's the point of having all those damn big muscles if you can't just like climb up a ladder and clip yourself in? Like, I don't think I could do it, but like, I also don't spend like a large portion of my time pumping iron in a gym. So that was a big flop.
Well, last
belly
season,
flop.
like Nelson and I think Fessy were like kind of talking shit about Chauncy, calling him like popcorn muscles. And Chauncy was so offended. And like all he was saying was like, if like when I come back, like I'm gonna prove them wrong. And it's like, all right, well, not only were you like popcorn muscly last season, like you got whooped by Jordan in a physical elimination, but you're also like not good with puzzles. You're scared of heights. You weren't even willing to try the heights challenge. And like seemingly like not much improvement in like any of those areas this season. So Chauncey's just so disappointing. And like
But it's like I wasn't even expecting anything from him. He actually met my expectations, to be honest. So Jay here is saying the ordering was interesting. Olivia before James. Yes, and like they're like she's like, use my shoulders. Usually these huge guys are standing on Olivia's shoulders. Like,
I couldn't believe
how
that.
did that happen? I was like, you would think that the guys, the heaviest guy would be on the bottom, and then you know, whatever, they'll go up, and whoever the lightest guy is maybe at the top.
But they each have to climb each other anyway. So like the person at the bottom, if the people at the bottom are all heavier, then they're all gonna have to climb over more people to get up. So I think the logic, you do have to stagger it a certain amount, which is why I agree with what Olivia said, or was it Michele, one of them, that there should be a heavy person maybe at the bottom, but there should still be staggering of like different sizes so that no one's like, it isn't just the heavier people climbing over like the smallest people maybe. But I
think that they should have maybe gone for speed, like put the heavy people on the ladder and have all the women climb up and get all the women's balls in at least, and then see what you could do after that. Because
that was the whole problem with this challenge that like made it so hard was because of that like time limit. Like they couldn't do a trial and error. It was like they were so pressed for time that like once they committed to something, they had to just kind of go with it. Whereas like if they had an hour to do it, they could have tried like the bigger people on the bottom or the bigger people on top and like see what works. But it was all like so messy and they're like in the water, so they can't really like regroup. Which again, like made it very funny to watch, but it's like they were never going to do it in 23 minutes.
Otaku also has an interesting strategy. Like, well, maybe they should have just like separated one ladder for the men, one ladder for the women, and just like see what happens there. Because it's for the most part, it was women that were able to get up the ladder. And so I wonder if that would have been a better strategy, because then you wouldn't have super heavy men standing on the shoulders of very small women. It would just be a little bit more weight equitable. I don't know. Well, they didn't have time to think about it. It was pretty bad. Chauncy couldn't clip on. Eventually they're like, okay, well, let's go and use their ladder over there. And this was like, I didn't see a timer, but like there was
like 5 minutes, not very much time left. Yeah.
And so basically, they only got $6,000, which is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So Berna is going to try and protect Hughie. I'm like, Berna, just stay away from Hughie. Don't try to protect Hughie, please.
Yeah, you're gonna do more harm than good.
I mean, I know she has Michele on her side to a certain extent. And so maybe being like, hey, Michele, can we try to protect Hughie? Maybe that's what she's planning on doing. But hopefully she's not going to go talk to other people, because she's not necessarily helpful. Hughie's trying to be positive because Hughie was somebody that didn't do super well in this challenge, but everybody flopped. Like, yes, Hughie wasn't able to get up the ladder, but so were a lot of people. Like, we know that Chauncey wasn't able to clip on, and there's a lot of guys that didn't actually sink a ball. And so, the ordering of people on this ladder also is a bit problematic as well. So maybe Cierran needs to take a little bit of the heat. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So Corey Lay did actually say something interesting about this in his podcast. He was basically saying like it was always going to be between Chauncy and Hughie, and like people were just looking for like a reason to like throw them in, but like there was never like a doubt. Like there was always like this pecking order, and it was going to be one of Chauncy or Hughie. So like other people did screw up too, but because like they wanted it to be one of them.
They just blamed on them.
Yeah, that's all they showed.
Got it. So Kyland, Jay, Asaf, and Cierran are all talking about liabilities, and Hughie's a liability. But that is interesting. What you're saying here is that they are only airing these kind of conversations to make it seem as though like the results in the challenge was what was fueling these conversations. But in actuality, it was just allowing them to have these conversations and look justified in their actions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Corey, Michele, Jay, and Nurys are also talking, and they're debating between Hughie and Chauncy. But Michele trusts Hughie way more than trusting Chauncy. But I think Michele is in an alliance with Chauncy, right? Yeah,
A light one, yes.
a light one, but an alliance is an alliance. Isn't
And
it?
Michele is friends with Amber, right? Like I swear,
Yeah.
like they're like kind of decently close friends.
Was she at the baby shower?
I don't know, but I believe Corey Lay was.
Was he?
Yeah, I think so.
Corey also trusts Hughie over Chauncy, I believe, too. James and Hughie are also getting along. I like this little duo as well. What I do find is that people in the UK are just a lot like the male friendships are just so much better than you usually see in the American versions of different shows. I love that they're not homophobic, and like they're just so willing to be flirty with like other men if they're straight, and like I don't know, I just like the banter and like how people are very much more comfortable in their skin with male friendships, even if they don't have the same like sexual orientation. So I like seeing Locky and Hughie being best buds.
Me too.
We got a club scene, guys. This is our first club scene of the season, right? Or did we get one last week and I don't remember?
If we got one last season, last week, there was nothing notable from it. So this is the first one that stands out, at least.
Well, because we see a little bit more of Michele and Callum. So how are we feeling about Michele and Callum now, since you want to be Callum's girlfriend, Matthew?
Yeah.
Stay away, Michele. I definitely don't feel good for Michelle's sake.
Have we done any research to know who this person is? And are they still together?
I certainly hope not, but who knows?
We see Ravyn talking to Chauncy. And now Ravyn is another person that, like, she kind of needs to know when to be pushing for something and when to just realize that, like, you know what? Don't die on a hill for Chauncy. Why is she dying on a hill for Chauncy? Please explain to me.
It makes no sense to me.
Like, I get
out of
it.
nowhere, but she
He's
just
your
needs something
friend.
to attach to, I guess.
But like she hasn't known him for that long, and it's just like gonna ruin her game if she's going against the rest of the entire house, basically. Because if you're saying that everybody knew that it was gonna be Chauncy and Hughie, why is she the last to know? Or like, why does she not care enough to like be like, hey, like I think it's gonna be you. Like, do you want like how can I help you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she's trying to please everyone, but in doing so, she is like fucking up the plans of the massive majority. And like she's already on like shaky grounds with some of them, like specifically Nurys, who is like one of the heads of the snake. Yeah, I'm not a big Ravyn fan as well. But yeah, she's like doing like a little too much just to protect someone that has like no skin in the game.
Absolutely. Ravyn is bringing the chaos, and MV loves it. Okay. Willie also likes Ravyn trying to be loyal to Chauncy. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a good idea, and I just don't see it. But I think it's giving her alliance a reason to target her, and that's not good.
They're like trying to protect Chauncy is fine. Like that's one thing. It's like the like exposing the plan to like people on the other side, like the UK side or the international side. Like that is where like you're just putting yourself in hot water, because there's no reason to tell like other people what you're doing. Like I understand like Chauncy's on the US side, she has a relationship there, but then she's like telling Cierran what the plan is, and like now they're able to come up with a counter plan where it's like that is just like super messy. And like Nurys and Olivia are not going to be happy about that. Nurys in particular, like she's fiery and she already doesn't really like you. So
Jessica has a point here saying that Ravyn knows that these girls don't have her back really, so what does it matter? They're going to target her whenever they feel like it. True, but like make it harder for them. Right? Yeah. Like, they're going to be preaching loyalty and like don't screw over the alliance and like we're working together. Why are you informing the enemy? Or, if they're going to be using that against you, like I would just play their game a little bit so that if they do call me in, like they don't have a good reason to. And so yeah, I do agree with you, Jessica, though. She probably knows that like she's out first from the women in their alliance, but I just want to make it harder for them. Or tell people don't say anything. Like, why aren't people saying stuff?
Do you think they all know that vets are coming in, like as mercenaries?
No, they have
you
no
don't
idea.
think so?
No.
I feel like they must know.
Well, they look so they're faking when they're shocked?
Like some of them. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like,
Like you're telling me like Zara doesn't know that Kaz is coming in as
like
a mercenary?
Maybe something like that, or maybe like.
Well, I think Kaz would be too worried about like spilling the beans. Like she hasn't been on the show for long enough, and so I don't think that she's going to want to go against production if she knows, like if she says something. I don't know. I don't think she would go against her contract if it says don't say anything. Who's Cara Maria going to tell? Nobody.
No, but not Cara. But like, I mean, Chauncy is like literally like dating Amber. So you don't think like Amber got tipped off that like people are going?
Who out of the vets talks to Amber?
True.
That's a good point. I just feel like people do so much talking like pregame that like
they have an inkling, but I don't think that they know 100%.
Yeah. Oh, Darrell talks to Amber. Like, you don't think Darrell like tipped off Amber, like, hey, I'm coming and I'll protect Chantele?
He's also somebody that like I don't think wants to screw over production.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like people do so much talking in pregame that like they probably called like vets too. And I just find it hard to believe that none of them know.
I just don't see, especially if they're coming in as mercenaries, that why would they want to potentially screw up a potential paycheck getting called again by screwing up their twist. So I don't know. I just don't see them not playing production's game here. If they find out, I think it just would be like maybe an inkling or, oh, I heard that something might be going on, but I don't think that they were told outright by anyone.
So who do you think will be the first vet to show up?
I think they're going to go with the big guns. So it's probably going to be like a CT.
I think CT will be last.
Last?
Yeah. Where it's like, hey, if you want to get to the final, like you're going against.
Well, let me think. Dog. Maybe Jordan will be first because we do see the scene where he's like talking to Emmanuel, and so like it seemed like there was a lot of people that were still there.
Yeah, I could see Jordan. Like maybe if they do it in pairs, like I could see like Jordan and Kaz coming in. Or like Tori Devon since they won the last one. But I definitely think like CT and Cara are like that's like the main attraction, and I could see that being the final one.
So maybe they're just trying to hurry up these episodes to get to the final one. Yeah. So Brandon here is saying that Ravyn was at Amber's birthday shower, so I assume that she would be close to Chauncy. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
That makes a little bit more sense, but it's like, girl, you gotta be better at these games because people will vote you in and not care. So oh my God. So, okay, they're still at the club and Jay is telling Hughie that it's better for him to choose his opponent. And I mean, this is decent gameplay on Jay's part so that like instead of him, so that he was going to be like, yes, put me down instead of like maybe me being chosen by Chauncy. And so it helps Jay be able to vote in Hughie. And then and it is a better position if you know you're going to be going in or being called in by the person will be voted in. I definitely would want to be ready to go as opposed to like hear my name be called. And so or I would rather get to choose who my opponent for in this new format. So Jay's right, but like it's also like a little slimy because he just wants to vote him in and not feel bad about it.
Yeah. And like, again, like Chauncy just so disappointing where it's like, he's basically just like accepting his fate here.
No, this was Hughie, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, Chauncy later on kind of did the same, but with, I don't know, like for me, like I would rather not be the houseboat just because like there is that chance where like, hey, you see the elimination and like maybe it's something that the person being voted in thinks they can beat someone else at. So like, sure, like it might be like 70% that I'm going in anyways, but like if I'm the house vote, I'm 100% going in. Whereas like that 70%, like you can stay ready, but then if you're someone that's really good at puzzles, you get down in the sand and there's a puzzle there, like, hey, maybe they're not going to choose Hughie. Maybe they're going to choose a James or a Chauncy or whoever, someone that's more of like a meathead. So I would personally always rather not be the house vote.
Well, with this format, yeah, because like there's a chance that they're not going to pick you.
Yeah, with this format. For other formats,
sure. So we hear the crowds of people saying kiss, 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 kiss. And they are trying to encourage Kyland to kiss Melissa. And it's kind of cute and flirty. And she's giggling and expecting him to kiss her. And he's just swerving. And it was really awkward. And Melissa is pissed and embarrassed. And he then talks to her about it. He says that, you know, he doesn't realize that it was going to be embarrassing for him due to him being diagnosed with autism. And so she ends up crying. How did you feel about this whole situation? We'll go Matthew first.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was like, definitely like, I was in the mindset of like, Kyland, what are you doing? Like, kiss her. And I actually like tweeted something out that I deleted right after. I was like it was like the Mean Girls gif of everyone raising their hand about like Regina George bullying them, like who's been victimized by Regina George. Everyone puts their hand up. So I had posted like, raise your hand if you would kiss Melissa right now. And everyone raises their hand. And then like immediately the next scene, it's like Kyland was explaining himself like, hey, like I didn't understand what was going on. I processed things differently. And I don't think like Melissa was in the wrong either, obviously, because she had no clue. So I honestly thought it was handled like very well by both Kyland and Melissa and production. Like I think like they edited it very well and they didn't try to like hide a difficult conversation, which they easily could have. So I thought that was like actually, it was like a cringe scene that turned into like something that I actually appreciated quite a bit. Because like, I like personally, like I didn't realize that was like a struggle of Kyland. Like I knew just from like Twitter and whatnot that he had a recent diagnosis, but I didn't realize like things like that were stuff that he struggled with. So I like liked to see that side of Kyland, and I can appreciate that like Melissa was like very respectful and responsive to it.
So Joanne says, autism aside, not everyone is comfortable with PDA.
Sure.
But you're on the challenge and it's MTV's version. So get to kissing, okay? Like we need make-up points, okay?
And I mean, he was, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with what Matthew said, pretty much. Like, I was like, this is so cringe. But then as time went on, I was like, okay, like, I get it. And she did come around to understand what he was talking about.
But I mean,
it's also, it also kind of feels like he's like, okay, I have this new diagnosis and like, this has to be why. Like, he was comfortable being touchy with her on top of a platform in front of everybody. And so it makes sense for her to think that, you know, a certain way. And I don't know, socially, I felt like he did kind of understand, but he was being awkward in the moment. And then it kind of had to explain it later. So I don't know. It all worked out in the end, but
anyways, wrong show. If you're afraid of PDA, sorry. So Jorge didn't like when Melissa said that guys would die to kiss her. I'm fine with that.
I mean, she was like she was obviously like pretty intoxicated. I thought it was like pretty. I thought her like tantrum was pretty funny.
Like I get that. Like if the person that I was the closest to and we're having kind of like a little flirtmance with, and we're sleeping in the same bed at times, and like they started chanting kiss, 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 you'd have to just roll your eyes and kiss the person. And if they didn't want to kiss me, I would think that they just weren't that into me.
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't think he didn't need to kiss her, to be clear. I think that it makes sense for her to assume that he would, based on how they've been cuddling and such things. And he's never said before that he wasn't comfortable with that sort of thing. And he's made it seem a certain way. So if I was in that position in that moment, I'd probably think, oh, he's just not interested. Oh, that's embarrassing. But obviously also she's intoxicated and this and that. And as soon as he explained that it wasn't about that, I totally get that. Because I also hate PDA and like I understand where he's coming from with that for sure. So,
but I think you would suck it up and do an embarrassing kiss in front of people if you're on the challenge.
I mean, it would depend on the situation, but
you're drunk. You'd do it. So Olivia and Nurys are BFFs, which I think it's interesting that they state this because
they're doing it for a reason.
They don't follow each other currently on social media, and right now I only see Olivia and Michele hanging out all the time together, and they are inseparable BFFs. So it's definitely going to be the fall of Olivia and Nurys' relationship. Yeah. And they think Ravyn is messy, which she is.
Yeah,
Ravyn. I mean, she's never going to win with those women. Well, with Nurys, anyways. But
I think the Nurys and Olivia like storyline is like definitely the most compelling like thing about this season. Where it's like we know there is going to be a downfall, but like what leads to this downfall, and like how much will MTV actually show? Because like they're definitely like not on good terms right now, and clearly something happened, so it's going to be like quite the build up, like seeing them go from BFF to like rivals, which seemingly they are from everything we've heard.
I wouldn't mind same-sex team new season rivals being Olivia and Nurys.
Yeah.
Cierran and James are talking about Hughie and how Hughie is on their side and that they want to keep all the people, the UK people together, which is important. But that's another thing that I'm frustrated with. And that's what happened with the Global Edition is that like, it's just so heavily favoring USA or people that are not like, that are from, USA seasons that like, it's just going to be so hard for anybody else to be able to pick up any steam and like, really work together. I mean, they have a lot of people, a decent amount, but this time, but like, it's just not enough. So it's worrisome. I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything. Chauncy calls a meeting. Oh my God. Okay. So on the scale of like 1 cringe to 10 cringe, like how was this meeting, Michele?
It was so cringe. This truly was cringier than the kiss, than anything else in this episode. Wait, no. What was cringier was like the official meeting later. Like the
oh shit! Is that not the meeting yet?
No, this meeting was cringe, but the next meeting, like the deliberation.
So I'll never pick you. What are we writing there?
It like okay, wait, are you talking about the meeting like that they had to discuss, and then he says to he's like,
I thought it was that
hey,
meeting, but I didn't realize there's 2 meetings now. That now I'm reading my notes. It's like this meeting was I'll never pick you, and they want to dwindle the international players numbers. Okay, so that was that meeting. Whatever, we'll get through this. Then we have the deliberation. Hughie saying that he's loyal, and this is where Chauncy was like, decides to say, have I ever done you wrong? And he's asked Horacio, and he's like, well, actually. And then after Michele is like, well, actually. And so everybody that he's using as proof is that he's loyal, because Hughie was mentioned that he has been loyal, and he kind of did a pretty decent speech, and everybody was like, oh, like, yeah, Hughie is a loyal guy. And then Chauncey's trying to do the same thing, and the people that he's calling for examples were basically saying, like, you've actually screwed me over.
And that's the thing is, like, it's not like he betrayed them in a way that was like they were going to take him to the end and then he betrayed them. No. in those situations, he was already kind of going to be on the outs at a certain point. People weren't into Amber, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like they were crazy blindsides that he did. You know, like, it's not the worst thing for him to not be loyal to them in those situations. But to bring it up and to ask the people that you know you have voted against, don't bring it up.
Exactly.
Don't bring
like,
it up.
It's fine.
Just say nothing.
What he did wasn't bad, right? Like, I don't think that they were holding it against him or saying that, like, you know, you're an awful person. But he kind of opened the floor for them to be honest and be like, well, you know, you actually did kind of screw me over. Like, you threw me and my partner down into the ground. Like, you voted for me, like, whatever. Like, you did do things that you said that you weren't going to do. And so to ask, have I ever done you wrong? It's just, you know, if you want to
I think he genuinely forgot. Like, did he forget?
Yeah, he
must
have.
Right. Oh yeah, I did do that.
Because I think he did forget because his face kind of fell, and he was just kind of like, okay, yeah, well, like, I mean, like, I am loyal. And you're just like,
But, like, you have to be prepared. Like, if you're going to ask Horacio something like that, you need to know, okay, he's going to be like, you voted for me. And I'm be like, yeah, I voted for you in a situation where everyone was already voting for you and you were going in and this and this and that, or like, this was the reason. Like, there were specifics to that situation, but he didn't even think of it because he didn't even think of the fact that he voted him in. Or he just thought that wasn't, like, I don't know.
Like, he should have just been like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm just like, okay, yes, I am loyal, but like, these are all circumstantial, and you want me to be here because I don't know how you get out of it. But
yeah, it was like such an embarrassing performance because, like, leading up to this deliberation, the US people were essentially like telling him to his face, like, hey, like, it's gonna be you. All of them were throwing him under the bus, and that he expected them to like lie on his behalf and just like protect him for no reason. Whereas, like, he should have already known he was on the bottom. What I was thinking, and let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think Chauncy should have tried to like tell the US people, like, hey, if you guys vote me in, I'm gonna call out one of you? Or do you think like he was right to tell them, like, hey, if I go in, I'll go after a UK person to earn your trust? Or should he have just straight up said, like, vote me in and I'm going to go against one of you guys?
I would at that point, I would put the fear of death in them.
That's what I would do too. Like, why are you taking
I mean, I'm just so much more petty than he is, and like, we're all more strategic, right? So
yeah, that's the play. The play is, why would I not pick you, Jay? If I see something that's like based on strength, you're smaller than me. If you're going to vote me in and you're not going to help me, then why would I not?
Blackmail
and just blackmail them at that point. Like, you already know.
Yeah, like, it might get you in trouble down the road, but
save yourself for
who
this
cares?
time. Like, then use this to like build it. Just be like, I'm sorry that I had to do that, but like, I just needed more time here to like build these friendships, because the fact that you guys so quickly turned on me was so frustrating. But like, I would definitely call you out if like you're going to turn your back on me. That there's the loyalty's gone.
Also, like, if Chauncey takes out Jay, who's like considered the head of the snake, he also earns favor with all the international people for not calling them out.
Yeah.
Plus, like, Jay not being there opens up avenues for all the other US players if he truly is the most insulated one.
Yeah.
So Taboo says, when the cameramen filmed the Chauncey scene, do you think the producers were like, we fucked up with some of this cast? I think so. I mean, I don't know how he made it through, and your fave Johnny Middlebrook didn't make it through.
I'm like,
hear your outrage.
Don't even remind me. I'm so upset about it that
I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna like basically binge the first 5 episodes today. But yes, like, continue.
I mean, the guy is TV gold, and like, he has so many built-in storylines. This theme is perfect for him. Like, I would love to see him back with Nurys and Ravyn. If Nurys starts like a fling with Horacio, like, how is Johnny going to react to that? Like, I doubt he'll care much, but like, there is that intrigue there. He's also like physically gifted,
and he's willing to take the big swing.
Yeah, it's like, why is Chauncey on the cast and Johnny Middlebrooks isn't? Like, why is Ed, who I don't even like he doesn't even talk. Why is he on the cast and Johnny Middlebrooks isn't?
Okay, I have a thought that just came into my head. What if it's because the mercenaries didn't want to necessarily go against Johnny in like an elimination or something like that? So maybe they're just like, he might be too strong.
I don't know. Like Horacio's better at eliminations than Johnny.
Yeah.
Like Corey Lay is like a bigger guy than Johnny. So I don't like James even. Like
maybe they think that they're going to be gone before they get to that part. Not Horacio, but
yeah. Like if although we don't even know, like it's possible. I don't know what the format will be once the vets come in. Like if they have a choice in who they go against, or if it's just going to be a house vote. But I don't know. Like whatever the reason was, like them cutting Johnny at the airport
too.
It's ridiculous.
I'm wondering if he got, or maybe they heard that he was going to go on Love Island as well, and so like maybe it was a conflict of interest or something, and so like maybe it was against their contract to be doing something maybe in such a short turnaround. I don't know. Maybe it's like that vibes, like breach of contract, but just like King over here is saying, like bad move.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bad move for sure. So the Girls Alliance, they want Chauncy, and they think that Chauncy should be the vote. At this point, like he's just like so bad at the game, he can't even like articulate himself enough to like build an argument. Like he's just not good. What's the redeeming quality about him? That he's really cute.
I mean, the number one redeeming quality about him is his girlfriend, is Amber. Without, I think there's no way we ever see Chauncy back. But if for whatever reason he were to come back, it's only because Amber demanded him to come back for her to come back.
Do you think his OnlyFans got a surgence of new subscribers?
Well, I mean, barely anyone's watching the challenge as is, so I don't know about that. I mean, unless the three of us subscribed, we're like the only viewers.
At this point, yeah.
Ravyn blabs to Cierran. Well, I mean, I know Cierran is the guy that she's kind of flirting with. He likes her, thinks she's super pretty, which she is, and tells her that Chauncy isn't going to choose one of the Americans, that he's probably going to choose a UK person. So that seems like what the agreement that they came to is like, if Chauncey's going to go in, he's going to choose someone from the UK. And so she gives them a heads up, and I'm like, I get it, it's your boyfriend in the house, but like it's just so easy for them to start mistrusting her if this gets back to them.
Yeah, she's really good at doing this and shooting herself in the foot, like digging her own grave. Like less is more a lot of the time, and she's going to come across sneakier, even though she's kind of being less sneaky by being like transparent, but she doesn't understand the basics of like, if you're part of any kind of group or alliance, don't talk about that thing to anybody who isn't in that, unless you're like, I'm fully ready to jump ship. I'm flipping this. I have all my pieces together. Like, this is the right move. Okay, then yeah, tell the person. But what's the point? Like, it didn't help anything.
It immediately gets back to the US guys because they're all talking about it. Kyland is telling the group that Ravyn spilled the beans. Nurys is there, and she's annoyed, obviously, because like any reason to be annoyed with Ravyn is going to be a good one for Nurys. Mm-hmm. And so the US boys are the UK boys have decided to burn their votes on each other so that they don't necessarily know how the vote's going to actually.
Hey, this whole thing was the dumbest thing I was so confused by this. I was confused.
Because I think what they were thinking was going to happen was that only the people that voted for the person that went down into the sand were going to be eligible for the call out.
So why?
What do you mean why?
But why would they be the only ones eligible when last week TJ said you can pick anybody you want?
Yeah, the problem
they weren't sure of the rules though.
Yeah, because Kyland actually explained it really well, and like again, a pretty good episode for Kyland. But he explained it really well. And in Final Reckoning, I believe the voting format was you vote for people, and then at the elimination floor, whoever got the most votes goes into elimination, obviously. And then whoever voted for them was exposed, and you could only call out one of the people that voted for you.
And so last week, everybody voted for whatever her name
except
was.
Horacio,
Jessica.
which obviously she couldn't call it a guy. But
Right.
So they didn't know whether or not that was going to be the format, or if they're going to be able to call out anybody.
Right.
Yeah, and Kyland was obviously studying a lot before coming into the season, like we saw in the package pregame. And I think like the whole point of it was like, yeah, like it probably isn't going to be that theme, but Kyland like raised the question like, well, what if it is? Like, what do we do if it is? And then the only votes on Chauncy are US people, then we're kind of screwed. And no one was really like listening or paying attention to that. But like, it obviously didn't end up being the case, but they didn't know that. And
I thought it was a sound plan, and like
Yeah.
or the fact that that Kylan snooped that out as a possibility, so that they at least had a contingency plan, and just to be like, hey, just know that like it might be that if we vote for him, we're going to be somebody that's eligible to being called out. And so
Yeah.
I thought it was smart of Kylan to figure out that was a potential way that the game was going to go.
Yeah, I thought it was really smart of Kylan, and like obviously like he overstudied, which is good. To be honest, I kind of wish that was the voting format. Like I thought that
I thought they nailed it. I was like,
oh,
that's
I felt the complete opposite. I was like, why would that ever be the format? Because I completely don't remember that in Final Reckoning. And also I just felt like TJ would have said something to that effect last week. Oh, since all of you voted, you can pick any of them. But he just said you can pick anybody you want. So I assumed it was always pick whoever you want, or he would have said, since everyone voted for you, you have your pick of the litter, pick whoever you want. Like that's very different way of saying it. So to me, I was like, sure, it's a possibility, but it seems like such a slight possibility. And to create your whole game strategy off of something that is likely not to happen, and then it didn't happen. I was like, that was so random.
Well, but also though we've seen like TJ not be a little bit vague with rules, and then like clarify it later down the road. So I can understand them just like not being sure, because like they didn't have an example of multiple people being chosen.
I think when Kyland was like explaining all of it, someone actually asked like the same thing, like what wouldn't TJ have said something in the first, like when Jessica was going in? And Kyland said, well, no, because all the women voted for Jessica. Like he actually like outlined like everything that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like, I like that there are like students of the game in the game. And I'm curious to see like as the game progresses and like format changes, like if Kyland is going to be like one of the people that is like on top of things and leading the strategy, because he's certainly like capable of it.
He is. Yeah. It just, to me, it felt overthought. Like it felt very overthought. And I was like, okay, like fair, true. TJ has changed the plan like without warning before. So like as it went on, I was like, I guess like he could just suddenly be like, well, nope, that last week it was this. I didn't have to explain myself like that, I wouldn't be so shocked, but my impression based on his behavior, like what he said the first one, I was like, it just seems so random. And I just don't see it happening.
But also, though, like, wouldn't we have been, say that TJ did change the format and they didn't think about this? We'd be like, what are they doing? Like, they've done
No,
it before.
I wouldn't have. I would have been like, what the hell? That makes no sense. Why would they ever do that?
It does make sense, though.
But
it's a better format.
I'm totally with Brandon here. Like, I think that like that's my favorite kind of format,
because like that's going to force people to like actually have to play the game as to who they're going to call out.
Yeah.
But then to actually play the game, you have to make that clear of that's what the rules are. Like
them being clear with the rules is not.
But like that's what's stupid. Time. Like to me, that's like yes, it's a better format if at the first elimination they said it. They're like, yep. Everyone voted for Jessica.
They didn't even tell them how the first elimination was going to go.
I know, but they never do. But like, I mean, after the first one, when the things are kind of set, okay, now we know, now things change. We know how it's set. If he had said something along the lines of like, yep, you all voted for her, so she can pick. And then everyone's like, oh shit, like that means like maybe we should change who we vote for moving forward. That's more interesting to me to watch game wise, as opposed to like, well, he could just change the game at any point. And so let's just think of like a possibility of this other version that could happen, and then justify it by saying, well, all the girls voted for Jessica last week. So it's a possibility. You know what I mean? And then it kind of grew and grew and grew, you know?
I understand what you're saying, but I just don't feel like what he said was concrete enough to know 100% that format meant that it was going to be that everybody was eligible every single time. Like it wasn't completely clear either way. And so I can understand them creating a contingency plan just in case TJ clarifies the rules and say, well, everybody voted for Jessica, so that's why it didn't matter. But this week and the weeks going forward, if you call out somebody, then you're eligible to being called down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't think it was so blatant that how he explained the rules for it to be not a possibility. But I can see your point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm always rooting for a better format, and so I was hoping that that's the way it was gonna go.
So another reason why I think that they must be tipped off that vets are coming in is Kyland in particular. Like Kyland is thinking all of this out, and like Kyland is the type of guy where he's looking at the cast. He's like, okay, there's 24 of us here. There's 24 of us here. The filming time is this long. Like there must be something happening where like, why are there only 24 people when every other season has 36 or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Kyland is definitely thinking like, yeah,
Something
like
else.
people are coming. Like there are going to be mercenaries.
I'm not defending Kyland. I'm defending the format and TJ. Okay, well, we'll move on. Okay, let's just get to this elimination. So Michele starts. And said, I didn't write who she said. Cierran says James. Kyland and Hughie. Kyland says Hughie. Jay says Chauncy. Ravyn says Hughie. James says, and then I stopped writing them down because I was like, it didn't matter anymore. Because then Chauncy says myself, and he got 18 votes. Okay, how do you feel about him saying himself? Is this a new thing?
I mean,
I don't like it.
There's already so many votes against him. It's always funny when someone, it's like you got called out for not being loyal, and then you're like, this is how I'm going to start to prove my loyalty. Like you're about to go into elimination. So maybe just think about that instead. And like all these people voted, like, I don't know. No, it would be stupid to hold a vote against somebody when they already have 20 votes against them. You know what I mean? Like if I just throw a random vote, it doesn't really matter. But I guess I can see what he's doing.
I guess he's doing that so when he comes back in, he doesn't
can
have
be
an
like,
extra beef.
Yeah. But then he shouldn't have picked who he picked. He could have picked Callum or something. I don't know.
So he goes down to the sand, and TJ's like, "How's the baby, Chauncy?" I was like,
"Your baby that was born like 2 weeks ago."
Yeah, sorry, TJ. I've actually never met her, so.
You probably have more intel than I do because I've been in sequester for the last 2 weeks. What did I say? Burn vote didn't matter. Oh yeah. So what we were talking about didn't end up matter. Like who they voted for. The format is they can call it whoever they want. And Chauncy decides to pick James, a big guy. And so they're hoping that it's going to be something where his cardio is going to be better than James's, because James apparently is just big, all muscles, but he doesn't have any cardiovascular strength. And they're playing Might Light. And basically they kind of have to get 4 across or diagonal, three across or diagonal. And if they get 4, then they get on both like sides. Or I don't know. I can't remember how it went. Was it 4? Yeah, 4 is
you have to get as many 4s as you can. The thing.
So it was a decent puzzle strategy because they all had the same board, and so they had to push their piece through on their side to make it count. And so I thought it was a decent strategic. It had a lot of physicality and it had a lot of strategy. So it was a well-rounded challenge, I thought.
Yeah, I liked it because it requires like some endurance and just seeing how gassed James got. Okay, Kyland and Fessy are not at the same level. Let's be clear here. But yeah, no, I liked the challenge, the elimination, and it was one of those where like the better strategy is going to win, and because like if James getting ahead, so far ahead the first round, saved his ass when he got more tired later on.
Absolutely. So round 1, it was 9-6 for James. Round 2 was 6-5 for James. Round 3, James was only able to get 3 because he was super tired. Chauncy was able to get 6, which is the highest that he was ever able to get. But that only allowed him to get 17 points. And so James, even though he was super tired, managed to win with 18 points, and he lays down on the ground. He is tired.
Like, he won by 1 point. He doesn't need to be, like, it's not that impressive. But, man, if I saw that, I would say I cannot have him in a final if I have to be partnered with him. Like, if I was a woman, I'd, like, on the show, I'd be like, okay, clock that. You make sure he gets out before you have to work with him, because that's brutal.
Well, hopefully, though, he's going to be like training after that and be like, hey, this is a wake up call. I need to do some work here.
Yeah.
MP says, imagine if this was elimination was Horacio versus James. I mean, Horacio would probably get them all before James gets
before he even got there. Yeah.
James was so funny when, like, after he was like completely gassed out and like probably would have lost to everyone except for Chauncy in this elimination. And he's like, are you not entertained? It's like, well, yeah, we are entertained, but because you were horribly bad at this. But like Chauncy, the first 2 rounds was like putting his first pieces in like the corner of the board instead, like where it was least relevant, and James just had the whole middle to himself.
Yeah, like James is getting the diagonals and getting the kind of like top, bottom, whatever, and Chauncy was just going to the corners. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't like I feel like Chauncy got better as it went, but it was also James got slower.
Yeah, he got more tired, so he just was able to get more pieces on the board. But if they had the same like cardio strength, there's no way that Chauncy was going to be beating him in this one, because he just doesn't have the brains. Yeah. Sorry, boy.
Honestly,
I mean, he's also really young. He's like 23, right? So
the thing about James now, it's like people see like how gassed he was, and it's like, hey, like, I definitely, if I'm a guy in the house, like, I do not want to go against him in a physical elimination, but I would love to go against him in a final because he gasses out after 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Like, if I was a guy, I'd be like, yes, I want him in the end. Because,
or even a girl, because they all know it's a single winner, right?
Oh, that's true. I just feel like they might have to work with each other for part of it.
But maybe not, though. If they're going to have to be timed or whatever. I think it's just going to be who gets to pass the finish line first.
No,
I mean, I don't know.
But maybe you have to work together for parts, and then it's like a time combination deal. I mean, who knows?
Matthew, do you know what Melissa said in her confessional? I didn't write it down.
No, I don't remember.
She roasted. It was something about how gassed he was. Yeah. She was just kind of like in her Melissa way.
I think she was saying like, how are you going to run a final if you can't even run across the like, I don't know. Oh, was it you that does the Melissa? No, it's Fanta.
I can't do it.
The Melissa impersonation. Maybe we'll get Fanta to do some Melissa isms and send them the recording. Okay, so lastly, Chauncey's going home, but TJ doesn't feel bad that he's going home to a beautiful baby girl. What's going on, TJ?
Yeah.
Anyways, but the thing is that sucked about this whole elimination, I thought it was good. I liked it. I preferred James over Chauncy, but we knew that Chauncy was going to go home because we hadn't seen the scene yet where Mariah is like, do you like me the best? Or I like you the best? You think I'm the cutest? Or whatever she says and crawls into bed with him. We hadn't seen that scene yet. So I knew that James was staying in the game. And so I was like, why do they like to ruin like any sort of intrigue?
Yeah, like now we also know like if like we see like Jordan and Emmanuel have a confrontation. So if Jordan doesn't come for 6 weeks, like we know Emmanuel is going to be there for 6 weeks, right? So that's why I'm kind of hoping like, hey, can Jordan just be the first one in? So
that's why I'm thinking that maybe he's the first one in just to like bury that lead.
Yeah. Because we didn't really see any of the other like vets like communicate with the audience.
Mariah.
We saw Tori and Mariah have. So yeah, we know Mariah and Emmanuel will be there at least for a little bit. But...
until the vets show up, at least. Well, thank you both for recap. It ended up going way longer than I thought. I was like, this is a nothing burger episode, and like all of a sudden we're talking for an hour and a half. Do you have anything lastly that you'd like to say before we get off? Yeah.
No, but it's really funny I think I laughed when Melissa was trolly because I was thinking about how she like pregnant did a final. So it's really funny to compare that to his like how long were they even running back and forth? Like 15 minutes? I don't know. I don't amuse me.
I mean, I would be freaking tired. Like that.
Okay, did she quit the final? Okay, but wasn't she pregnant when she quit?
She was pregnant, but she quit because I think didn't she have her test results when she was like climbing?
Is that what happened? She did most of the final, didn't she?
She was in the final, but she had to. I think she was medically pulled.
Right.
But I think she did like a full day of the final.
Yeah, like she was still in third place, and I think the fourth place person was out.
Oh,
or she was fourth, and wait, Casey was out. Oh, I can't remember.
No, Bailey got DQ because she hurt her knee, and then Melissa got pulled. Like I think that like later that night, and then Casey ended up coming in second.
MV wants to know if we can talk about Nelson. Yikes.
Oh.
Melissa day one. It's really unfortunate that like this injury that he's suffering was due to his own intoxication. Obviously I don't want to see him going through what he's going through with his foot, but he could have hurt himself and other people terribly, and so it's kind of a hard position to be in right now, because it's like you want to support him and his well-being, but he actually was also doing something terribly illegal and dangerous. So
yeah,
it's very hard to say anything. Any thoughts, guys?
No, I mean, that's all there is to say. It's like it sucks that a lot of people were kind of misled, and like I see like people saying online like, oh, like people should have realized this was a possibility. It's like, hey, like you want to like expect like the best of people, and like personally, like I definitely would have liked to know the truth. And like I do think if he was like upfront about things off the bat and like admitted that he made like a horrible like life-altering mistake, people would have been a little bit more sympathetic towards him. Like obviously everyone would have still admitted like he fucked up, but the fact that it was like withheld for 6-8 months, it's a pretty tough look now after people have like given him money and like been super supportive. Not to say like people shouldn't be supporting him and wishing him the best, but yeah,
it's kind of like he withheld that information because he knew that people might have been a little bit less kind towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll leave on a high note that we have 2 episodes on Wednesday, so hopefully that's going to be jam-packed. Maybe it's just going to like blow through these 2 episodes, because after that, next week, that means the champs are coming in. So we're talking about maybe 4 episodes potentially. That will be 4, and then the champs come in for 4. So hopefully that's what's going to go down. Or no, I guess the champs can come in for more than that, but whatever. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to that. And you guys working on anything you want to share with the peoples?
I'm doing a show, but it's live, and it's not.
Can I stream it?
Show. No, you can't stream it, but but otherwise, no, I'm just excited about all the reality TV that's happening right now. Besides Big Brother, I will not be watching the finale. I will just read about it. And if there's a funny Heisem like moment where he actually gets to call him out or something, I'll watch that part. If they get reamed in some way, I will be pleased, but otherwise I just don't care. I couldn't care less. Very, very sad in the Big Brother world.
Matthew, you got anything going on?
No, not really. I mean, I guess we'll be back in like 48 hours. So hopefully no like major life changes between now and then.
Alrighty, thanks everybody for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Like this video and let us know. Do you think that they accelerated the vets coming into the game? Do you think that that is why that they put this double episode happening on Wednesday? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you know any tea that's been going around, we talked a little bit about like Corey and Big T beef. Is there any other beefs that we don't know about? Let us know in the comments and we'll do a little investigation and talk about it on Wednesday. So we will be going live right after the episode because there'll be a lot to cover. And so we want to do it before it gets too late in the evening. So we'll say 10:35 Eastern on Wednesday. We will be going live after the double header episodes. Other than that, you'll see me in an hour or so. I'll be doing the roundtable. Do the final roundtable on RTP, talking about these final 3.
I can't wait. I'll check in. I'll tune in.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.